All right, let's just dive right in. What if I told you that your morning coffee run, your daily commute, even the reviews you leave online, are all secretly being scored? Today, we're going to talk about the invisible game being played all around us every single day.
I mean, really think about it. Every time you check in somewhere, log a workout, or finish one of those training modules at work, you're generating points on an invisible scoreboard. And these scores, they are subtly nudging your behavior in ways you probably don't even notice.
So yeah, welcome to the game. It's not a console, it's not on a board, it's just happening all around us, all the time.
And this is the core idea right here. Our actual lives are being redesigned to look and feel just like a video game. We're chasing points, we're leveling up, we're unlocking achievements, often without even realizing we're the main character in the story. You've definitely seen this. You write a couple of reviews on TripAdvisor, and boom, you get an email congratulating you on your new top contributor badge. That tiny little reward, that little bit of status, it makes you want to write more, doesn't it? They've turned just sharing your opinion into a quest.
Or how about this one? The classic BuzzFeed quiz. I know, it seems totally silly, right? But it taps into this powerful psychological itch we have. Our brains just have to know the answer. It's why something like 96% of people who start one of those quizzes actually finish it. We simply must find out what kind of sandwich we are.
And look, this isn't just for fun and games. This stuff is completely seeped into our professional lives. Companies use these exact same tricks, points, progress bars, leaderboards, to make otherwise incredibly boring workplace training feel more engaging just to get us to complete it.
So what do all these things have in common? Well, they're all part of this big concept called gamification. It's a simple but really powerful idea. You take what makes games so addictive, the points, the competition, that little dopamine hit you get from a reward, and you apply it to the real world to influence how we behave.
But where in the world did this all come from? Well, the history is a pretty fascinating and honestly a slightly unsettling journey. It goes from the whimsical to the downright clinical.
You know, the core idea isn't new at all. Way back in the 1730s, a preacher used something called a pious lottery just to make daily prayers more engaging. In 1895, Mark Twain, of all people, patented a memory game to help his daughters learn history. And of course, Mary Poppins, her spoonful of sugar is the perfect metaphor for making a boring chore into a fun game.
But then, the story takes a really sharp turn. Because alongside these light-hearted, fun examples, the actual science of scoring human behavior was being perfected in a much more controlled and frankly kind of chilling environment. We're about to go from spoonfuls of sugar to something way more calculated.
And this is where it gets serious. In the 1960s, behavioral psychologists created these things called token economies inside psychiatric wards. Patients would earn tokens for what was considered good behavior. But here's the catch. They then had to spend those tokens on basic necessities, even on a private meeting with their own doctor. It wasn't a game at all. It was a closed system, a laboratory for pure behavior modification.
So this brings us to how these very ideas have completely reshaped fundamental concepts in our society. Things like loyalty. The rules of the loyalty game have totally changed.
This is your classic old-school brand loyalty. Ulysses Everett McGill's whole identity is tied to his pomade. It's not just a product for him, it's a part of who he is. Loyalty used to be a matter of the heart, of personal identity.
Now, contrast that with Ryan Bingham. Is he loyal to the airline? Not really. He's loyal to the game. His life's goal is to rack up miles, just a number. The thing he wants most isn't the service, it's the point system and the elite status it promises him.
So this slide lays out that fundamental shift perfectly. On one side, you've got loyalty to a product, driven by identity. On the other, you have loyalty to the game. And as one marketing company pointed out, players will stick with a brand where they have points and status even when they're disappointed with the actual service. The game creates a commitment that satisfaction alone just can't break.
So what's the cost of living in this gamified world? Well, every single point you score, every badge you earn, it's more than just a virtual reward. It's data.
So how does this whole thing work? Well, every click, every check-in, every choice you make creates a data point. It's a detailed running record of your behavior, and it's all collected and analyzed by algorithms to understand, predict, and ultimately steer your future actions.
And this brings us to the core trade-off. Let's be honest,
Gamification feels good. It replaces punishment with rewards. Getting points and badges is a lot more pleasant than just being told no. The carrot definitely beats the stick. But the price we pay for this pleasant form of control is constant, total surveillance of our behavior.
So all of this brings us to what is maybe the most important question of all. What is our real role in this new gamified world?
You know, when we put a score on everything, what happens to the things that can't be scored? Does going for a run become less about your health and more about just beating your personal best on an app? Does learning become about earning a badge instead of actually gaining knowledge for its own sake?
Maybe this is all fine. Perhaps we are just players, and gamification is a fantastic tool that makes boring tasks more fun, motivates us to be healthier, and just makes the world a more engaging place. A total win-win.
But then there's the other side of the coin. Are we truly playing, or are we being played? Are we just like rats in a digital maze, chasing the next little pellet of positive feedback while the architects of the system collect our data and guide our behavior for their own purposes?
And that's the real question, isn't it? In this invisible game, we're the players, for sure. But we're not the ones setting the rules. So who is? And what is their endgame? The next time you get a notification that you've unlocked a new achievement, just take a second to think about it. You might be surprised by what you find.